What? Are you doing season 2 of that stupid show?
Honey, where are you going?
Where are you going?
Again? Just where are you going?
Where are you going? You're not going to the bar again, are you?
You like hanging out, drinking beer at the bar, talking sports? Come on out and join us weekly. Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, your podcast for just that. Hanging out, drinking some beer, talking sports. It's your boy, Hanger, looking for a beer. Actually, we're all looking for a beer, so if you want to buy the guys a beer, at Guys at the Bar Talking Sports on Venmo. That's it. Easy as drinking a beer. All right, y'all, welcome to Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. This is your boy Hanger broadcasting live-ish, not really live, but live-ish from MJ's Bar and Grill. When I say live-ish, it's because we upload the video or the podcast about 5 minutes after we do the show.
I mean, it's a one-take show.
It's a one-take, yeah. We do no editing. We don't do anything. If someone walks up and starts talking to us, like my man Big Earn over here.
What's happening, Ray? What's happening, guys?
How we doing?
When someone walks up and just starts talking to us, we're gonna entertain the conversation and try to direct it towards sports because it's a sports show. And my man Big Earn is a Georgia fan, and I'm gonna introduce him really quick. He's actually talking about sponsoring the show.
What?
The goal has been to get free beer for a while, and if he sponsored a show, I'm buying rounds of beer. So, boom, there we go.
And how appropriate is it that you have the guys at the bar talking sports, and the score team is now going to officially sponsor a free beer every week to whatever contest Ray wants to put out there. So if you want a free beer, either Venmo the cash, Venmo your favorite bartender, whatever you need.
Boom.
Guess what? Just subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to and like the Facebook page, and the score team at United Real Estate is going to sponsor you your beverage.
Buying beer.
We've gone global.
We've gone global, yeah. There we go.
That's awesome.
And he's a Georgia fan, so he might be happy in the next couple of months, you know? I mean, that's another thing.
Well, you know, it's like one of those things. I've been a diehard Georgia fan for a while, and the issue that all Georgia fans have is we have that thing called hope. And yes, finally I did see that skit somebody said about hope in Georgia. Like, we always get our hopes up when we're doing good, and then at some point we usually just crap the bed. And we just have something that happens. And so this season, a lot of the Georgia fans that I hang out with, we just didn't get our hopes up at all. We're just playing, yep, they're playing good, but, you know, 4 seconds makes a difference in a game. 1 second makes a difference in the game.
Yeah, 90 seconds against Florida Gators made a big difference in the game.
Yeah,
For
exactly.
sure, right?
Exactly.
So, Big Earn, what are you drinking tonight?
I'm just drinking Shinerbach.
I roped you into the show for the intro, which is good. We all go by our nicknames on the show. So you just said my name out loud? No, we're anonymous. You know why? We don't want to get fired from our jobs.
Oh, that's why.
For saying the wrong thing.
You guys have
But
jobs?
actually,
We work here?
independently wealthy from Guys at the Bar Talking Sports,
There you go.
okay? Yeah. No, it's all good. I'm just kidding. I think everyone knows who I am on this. All 5 listeners know who I am. I'm sure, so I'm just kidding.
Well, you got 6 now.
But you come live with your own nickname already, Big Earn. So, boom. We didn't have to come up with one. They're biker names, by the way. And you know who he is? We got the Ripper! What are you drinking, Ripper?
I, too, am enjoying a very cold Shinerbach.
Shiner?
In my new Ripper the Predictor mug. Thank you, good sir.
If you get on the show enough, you get your own mug, bro.
That is fancy. And
that
let me
in there?
describe this. This is awesome. These are mason jar style mugs with a handle that are monogrammed, are somehow embossed. These are a fancy piece of beverage containment units that you can drink from.
And they're 16 ounces, so they're a full pint.
Oh,
Let me tell you, guys at the bar spared no expense, and we are grateful.
Listen,
I'm only sponsoring 12 ounces, though. I don't know. You guys got to pay for the other. No,
we're bringing in the big bucks around here, baby. I just did it because I was appreciative of everybody that's doing this show on a weekly basis with me. and participating in the Facebook group and all this stuff, because I think the best thing about the group is the Facebook group and also the friendships. I mean, I didn't even know Ripper, and I definitely did not know my man Who's Your Daddy until I started doing this show, and boom, here we go, you know? To introduce Who's Your Daddy, what are you drinking, Who's Your Daddy?
I'm back on that mocha stout again.
Winter mocha stout.
Winter mocha. It's very good. It's very
Now,
good.
last week you were missing your mocha stuff because we were at the pizza place drinking Heine's.
I drank a milkshake, peppermint mocha.
Oh, that's right, you
With
did.
real bits of peppermint. Again, you
Right.
might want to check that out.
Yeah. We do a sponsorship for MJ's and Penny's on every show, and I'm not sure why because we still haven't gotten a free beer out of Anthony yet, but hey, whatever. You know?
Here we are.
He
Now
let-
you have free beer.
He gives me a damn free table every time, you know? Like, if I was him, I'd charge me rent. But whatever. I think we actually bring people here sometimes, every so often, you know? So, and I talk about the restaurant on the Facebook group as well. But it's all good. Thank you very much for
thank you,
whatever
sir.
you do.
Venmo. We can do Venmo. We can do however you want. Just, play the contest.
We have the contest going right now. Alabama versus Georgia. Choose the score. Get a beer if you're the
Oh, that
closest.
beer's mine already. Yeah, that beer's
Did
mine.
you already put? What was the score you put in? Do you
14
remember?
to 10. Ugga.
14 to 10. Yeah, it might be a good defensive game because I think that Alabama. Wow, we're getting ahead of ourselves, aren't we?
Yeah.
But you know what? We go where we go with this show, don't
Hey,
we?
hey.
14 to 10. So Alabama, Georgia. Man, I was going to talk about the SEC championship last because it's the most important of the SEC or of the championship games this weekend.
Yes.
But we're going to go in order of importance, and we'll start with the most important game first, and then we'll move in to the least important, which is probably the Big Ten championship. We'll get into that one last. All right, because we all know Big Ten is not as powerful as the SEC. Although this year I kind of suspect that the Big Ten has a lot more power players in it than the SEC, which is
They
kind of
do have a big recruitment field to choose from this year to go to the NFL.
I'm just
They really
glad
do.
that nobody can see the dirty look that I'm giving you right now as a
diehard
Big
SEC,
Ten guy.
a diehard Big Ten fan.
Yeah.
No, I mean on it like Michigan State, Ohio State. I mean Iowa was looking good in the beginning of the season. I don't know so much now. Wisconsin's looking solid. Like the Big Ten 10 years ago, or even 4 years ago, was all Ohio State.
The Big
And
Ten
now
this year
they're-
has more 10-win teams currently than the SEC.
Yeah.
That's kind of surprising.
Oh yeah. Now, how many of them are going to bowl games?
Well, all, I think, of the SEC teams are going
Except
to a
for
bowl game.
Vanderbilt.
Except for Vanderbilt.
But we
Let's
don't
give
really
Vandy a moment of silence.
See, that's like-
every year. I think they help us out.
23 out of your 24 teams in the SEC are going to a bowl game, roughly, if my numbers are...
23 of the 24.
That's a big conference. That's a big
I
conference.
think it's 17 of 18. No, is it?
I think it's 14 you guys have.
No, well, there's. I've done this in my head so many times and I
Yeah.
can't remember. But yeah, whatever the number is, there's only Vanderbilt. And they don't help any of us. And the reason why is because for strength of schedule, which is one of the most important key indicators, at least you get the win. But it actually hurts your strength of schedule by playing Vanderbilt.
Of those 23 of the 24 teams out of the SEC that are going to a bowl game, I did, Ripper the Predictor, predict that USC, South Carolina,
He's
would
so
actually
proud-
make a bowl game.
He's
I
so
called that
proud of
preseason,
this.
baby.
He's so proud of this prediction.
I got a lot of, hand waves and eye rolls when I made the comment.
Yeah, when you
but we
said
did
that
it.
first at the beginning of the season, I went, what, Beamer's going to go buy some tickets to a bowl game? Is that what's going to happen?
But he's there.
He's going to actually play.
I mean, he has more than exceeded expectations, and I think that's primed him for an improved recruiting offseason and potentially, a 7 or 8 win season next year.
So does anyone know which bowl game they're going to and who they're playing? Is that
We won't know that until all the bowl games are going to come out after the championship games on Saturday.
Okay.
The lower bowls will come out first before they do the seeding for the actual
They're
playoffs?
talking either Charlotte, Memphis, or Birmingham.
Yeah.
And then they even mentioned Florida.
Okay.
Liberty Bowl in Memphis. The one in Birmingham, I know the people talking were down on because I guess USC is not one in Birmingham.
Yeah.
So,
I wouldn't mind going to Charlotte and
good.
catch
Yeah,
them.
that'd be a great place for them to go to. Yeah,
Play a little Top Golf and go watch some football.
absolutely.
Them against App State or something would be fun.
Probably be like, I think I'm hearing maybe North Carolina, NC State. So might get the Chief up there too watching that game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sadly, the Chief did not make it tonight. He's always our stats guy, and he wasn't here last week either. And what are we going to do without our stats tonight? But
We're going to make them up.
We're going to pretend we know what we're talking about. That's the goal
That's always
tonight.
fun. All right, so that's good that I'm here because we can make stuff up.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
good.
can. Yeah, nobody. When people are listening to the show, they are not pulling out their stats book or looking up on Google to make sure we're getting shit right.
Well, 4 people are probably.
Of the 5 listeners, we have one of them is not looking up. The other 4 call us out on it every single week. And of those 5 listeners, 4 of them are here right now. So we'll be fine though. We'll be fine. So let's jump into this let's jump into the SEC championship game then and have a
Oh,
conversation.
you don't want to go through
about
the other
this.
ones, huh? You want to
Well,
go right to it?
we're starting from the best to the worst.
Okay.
We're going to start with the SEC. We're going to work our way down to the Big Ten.
All right.
Okay?
Georgia, Alabama.
So you said 14-10.
Yes, sir.
And you think it's going to be a good defensive game
I
because
do.
obviously Georgia's going to have a hard time, or not hard time, an easy time stopping Alabama's iffy offense. Like they've been
I don't
pretty
think
solid.
their offense is iffy. I think their offense is one of the more explosive in the country. I think they probably have the number 2 scoring offense in the country. I think they probably have
They do, yeah,
top
they're-
5 or top 10 scoring yardage offense in the country. So offensively, I think they're very explosive. Problem is, their defense hasn't been able to keep them in the games, or basically win the games sooner for them. And when you're facing a team like Georgia, that's going to be a big task to come up against.
But does Georgia have the explosive offense that they need to be able to beat Alabama's defense?
So again, 14-10 isn't really an offensive shootout.
Well, you look over the season. Who's the best defense Georgia has played? Above average defense. Clemson. If you look at the scores, because it was the lowest scoring game.
What was it, like 10-7 or something?
10-3.
10-3. Yeah.
So then if you look at the other teams that had good defenses, it was going to be Florida and South Carolina.
But Florida's defense was not that solid this year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they held Georgia until a certain point. So, to Alabama.
Florida lost in the last 90
Yeah.
seconds of the first half.
So if you think about just Alabama in itself, how can they beat Georgia? Well, if you think about it, when you look at their offense, what they did against Auburn. I mean, for all but 1 minute and 35 seconds of the game, Auburn controlled and dominated. And Gary Danielson, which I hate to quote, the best quote of that game ever was about penetration. That was probably the best quote Gary Daniels said.
Yeah.
He goes, penetration is what it's where it's at. You've got to get the penetration. It's
I
all
have to
about
agree with you,
penetration.
Big Earn. Penetration is where it's at.
It's all about the penetration. So when he
Are we
said that,
this is getting dirty.
Well,
My mind's going to the gutter right now,
don't
Big
do
Earn.
that. Have another beer, Hanger. You'll be
Okay.
good. But when you think about it, 1:35, and at that point, what did I guess Saban took out his center. He took out the tackle to stop some of that stuff coming through, and then they went to 4 overtimes. Auburn got their butts handed to them by South Carolina. So what made that difference? What does Alabama have to do to beat Georgia? Can they handle 6'4", 340 Jordan Davis coming through them? Can those boys handle that defense coming through on the offensive line? Is penetration going to be another issue with them?
I think they have a lot of 5-star players. I'm probably the only one on your poll that picked Alabama. I figure
Georgia's people. Look,
So
I'm a
there's
dog
4
fan, but
people.
they're beatable.
the way
There's
I
4
look at
people that
this,
chose Alabama. That's
21
it.
to 20, Georgia's going to be ahead, and you're going to see the same scenario in the last minute of the game with Alabama. Bama
Oh,
wins
yeah.
27-21.
I think that Alabama can be good in that last 2 minutes as long as they keep the game close.
Refs.
And I also think
And the refs will help them out. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Alabama's
was
defense
awful.
will score 1 touchdown.
Alabama's defense will
Will score one
score one
touchdown.
touchdown. Got it.
Hopefully,
now, how many will
hopefully
Georgia?
it's Jordan Davis going like 70 yards. I want to
Yeah.
see that guy taking his 5.48
Yeah.
40 time down the
He
side.
runs like a 4.40 right
But
now.
who's
No
like
way.
who's the
No
best
way.
offense that they've seen? Like Florida, Georgia's seen.
Well,
Florida.
this will be the best offense Georgia's
This
seen
will
all
be
year.
the best offense.
Right.
I agree with you 100%.
That Georgia has seen. Absolutely,
Georgia's seen.
yeah. Georgia's played a lot of weak teams this season, which is surprising coming in the SEC. But South Carolina, what are they, 6-6 this season? Florida 6-6. Kentucky's 7-5, right? Yeah, like it's not a powerful SEC East this year. I mean, even Tennessee were 7-5, I believe, and but then who did they play on the other side? They played Auburn, but Auburn is not that good of a team this year either.
So, but then look what they did against Alabama. So, what does that make it? Is Alabama as good as they say they are?
Alabama
No.
beat Ole Miss, and Ole Miss is a pretty solid team.
it
Their
was a
only
shootout,
losses at
though.
Texas A&M.
Alabama is ranked where they are at because they're Alabama.
So
Yeah,
that's
they
why
are a
this
good
game is
team.
so important. Because it is going to show
And-
the weaknesses on either
Exactly.
side of each team.
Or
and go,
both.
Yeah.
Alabama's already been, they've shown their weaknesses for the last 6 weeks, really. And
They have. There's definitely a playbook right now written on how to beat Alabama, and I'm pretty sure Kirby Smart is sitting there training his guys up on that playbook right now as we speak.
100%.
But Nick Saban is a pretty smart guy, and he's correcting all those mistakes right now, getting ready for that game too.
I think Kirby says, I've got, really a historic defense. First time since 1979 that the defense has allowed the first 12 opponents to 17 points or fewer all year long. That's pretty historic. Hasn't happened in 40 years. 42 to be exact.
Yeah.
So I think that gives him the confidence to play his style of brand of football against Nick Saban, no matter what Nick's doing. Nick's going to be Nick. He's going to make those key in-game decisions.
Yeah.
But I think this year Kirby has the trust and confidence in his defense and enough confidence in his offense to play their game and not react to what Nick's doing. To play Georgia
And
football.
he has every right to be confident in his defense because what are they? They've had 63 points scored on them this year, and that's it.
That's it.
Like insane numbers. Now, what is the line on that, my man? Who's your daddy? Do you have the line on that
I
yet?
have the line on that game.
Because I'm sure that's going to change quite a bit between now and then, especially if there's an injury
I'm
mentioned. and
guessing it's like 3 or 4.
3 or 4 points. Yeah,
guessing.
All right, so your score you said was
14 to 10.
14 to 10. I think I put on there 30 to 10. I think that's where I was.
you think Georgia's going to put up 30 points
I do.
and Alabama's only?
I get
Wow.
it.
Georgia
I think-
6.5.
Georgia's
Beginning of the
6.5 right now. Okay, so defend that because I think that Alabama's offense is good enough to at least stay close with Georgia. Now,
What's the one thing? Okay, here's how I'm going to defend that. What's the one thing that beat Auburn in this game?
The refs.
The refs. McCreary, their DB, played
No call for
amazing.
intentional grounding
Right.
twice in like a face mask that was never called.
But McCreary, their defense back, he covered so well. He covered Alabama so well.
Oh, and James
Georgia's defensive backs, they're going to take the ball away. There are going to be more turnovers in this game, I predict, that Georgia's going to have against Alabama. And I do think Alabama's going to take one. I agree with you there. But this is how they're going to turn the ball over, and then the offense is going to take it down because the offense is, even though I don't feel it's the top-ranked offense, but they do score a ton of points.
yeah, for the last 5 weeks or so, they've had no problem scoring, and they got the right guy at the helm right now. And is it Stetson Bennett? Yeah. So Stetson Bennett has been putting up points. I think that's a good decision to keep him in.
Don't forget the fact that Alabama was without their Biletnikoff candidate receiver, Jamison Williams, I believe, for most of the game for a targeting penalty.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
So who's out most of that game? That's a key piece to their offense.
Yeah, 5-star player there, and you know, it's hard to replace somebody like that for sure. So,
well, unless he's coming from Ohio State, but we'll talk about that another time.
So, I kind
Wait till we get into
of see your point, Big Earn, in that. I mean, Auburn's defense is not Georgia's defense, not even close. And what did they shut out Alabama for 3.5 quarters?
3 points, I think, until
the last minute, 35 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
So,
crazy.
with that said, you might be onto something that Alabama might only score 10 points. You miite be right. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I just don't see Georgia putting up 30 on Alabama.
I think they do. I had a vision in my dream, and it was 30
You had
to
a
10.
vision in your dream.
It was 30 to 10.
So you're gonna buy yourself a beer.
I will buy myself a beer. Actually,
You're gonna Venmo your.
Hey, tell you what, if my score is right, I'll donate 10 free beers. I'll pay for 10 free beers, and I'll let Hanger choose the people.
Man. Hey, we're going to take you up on that offer.
Do it, buddy.
I'm rooting for 30
to
10, baby. 30 to 10.
Big Earn, you got to be here next Thursday.
Yeah.
I'll be here next
We're talking Army-Navy game next Thursday. And do you remember Kevin, the military guy that went to work in... so he is going to be here for that show.
Oh, my God. That's
His
amazing.
name is The Dude. He's the original founder of the show.
Oh, wow.
And he's coming in from Kentucky next week. He's going to be here on Sunday to Friday.
Dude, come on.
And I got The Dude lined up to come next Thursday, man.
Awesome.
So y'all got to be here.
I'll be gone.
He's an Army grad. He graduated from the Army, West Point. So he's going to be rooting for Army, but we're talking Army-Navy a little bit that week.
Well, I'm married to ex-Navy, so I've got to at least hold my colors the right way, I guess. So
hey, whatever, yeah. That's actually a game where you can root
Hey, it's
for
red,
both
white, and
teams.
blue. These colors don't run, baby.
You're right, David. You're right.
Change the subject a little bit.
All right.
Oh,
so
you're
my,
moving.
My 47th wedding anniversary is next Tuesday, so I'm taking my wife to Myrtle Beach for a week. So I will miss the show next week.
Don't you know the motto of the show?
No, don't say that.
Shows before hoes, bros.
No.
I've been
All of
tolerated.
our wives know it.
I've been tolerated
You
for
need to
47
tell your wife.
years, so
Okay,
my
that's
wife's
fine.
number one.
Congratulations on that, man.
Thank you.
47 years. That's really good, man.
Yeah, Pearl Harbor Day.
all right, so
Big Earn, did you know the motto of the show? Shows before hoes, bros.
but what
That's
about
the
bruise?
Brews before. I don't know.
News. I just need the bruise so I can have the news and put the news out.
Yeah.
Good, man.
There we go. Okay, so let's move on to the second most important conference championship of the week. AAC Atlantic. What is it?
Why is that number 2?
Huh?
Why is that number 2?
Well, because our host
The
says it's
American
number two.
Athletic Conference Championship, Cincinnati versus Houston. And the reason why it's the number 2 most
I
important
understand.
one is because I am not going to let number 2 be the Big Ten. It's my show. I can do what I want to.
Tonight you can.
Okay. AAC Championship, Houston versus Cincinnati. Houston has only lost one game, and that was to Arkansas, I believe. I might be wrong on that. But it's the only opponent that they've played that's in a Power 5 conference,
yeah.
and that's it. Whereas Cincinnati, the only team that they've beat in a Power 5, sorry, Indiana, because we're not going to call them a good team, is Notre Dame, right? Sorry about that.
No, they were not a good team this year.
He's
at all.
an Indiana grad, or he went to
They were
Indiana, not grad, but he's he
They
played
were not
at
a good
Indiana.
team this year at all. Very
Yeah.
disappointing.
So
I
Cincinnati,
agree with you.
So Cincinnati beat Indiana, and Cincinnati beat Notre Dame. Houston lost one game to a Power 5, and I'm almost certain it was Arkansas, but I need to relook it up. But one of our people in the back will tell us soon. So, besides that, if Cincinnati wins to Houston, who's ranked, I think they're ranked number 21st.
Yeah, 21.
Then at least they have a top 25 win to say, yeah, we deserve to be in the top 4. But what's going to happen in that game? Do y'all think that Houston has a chance? Do you think that Cincinnati's going to blow this thing out of the water? Do you think that if Cincinnati wins, but it's not by a big margin, and Oklahoma State wins, then Oklahoma State flip-flops to Cincinnati?
I think Cincinnati could probably go 35-13 over Houston. Houston does have a good team. I think they have their own challenges on offense. But I do go ahead. Yeah, what do you got?
I agree with you, Aaron. Houston's ranked 16th in the country. There's a 10.5 point spread on the game, but I can see a 35-13 score. I think Cincinnati needs to style points maybe in this game.
They need 45-10.
There's still a outside talk of possibly somebody jumping them, which I think would be a disgrace. I think at this point in time, as long as they win
And win
Saturday,
big,
they're in.
Can they stand to play Georgia, though? Like, right now, it's number 1 Georgia versus number 4 Cincinnati.
But look at last year. They played Georgia last year, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, in a bowl game, but bowl games don't matter in that way to me. Like,
Because a lot of the starters that are seniors that were graduating were kind of sitting
I'm
out.
willing to bet you that 32 starters on the Georgia team pretty much sat out. You know?
So, I look at this game.
As the second most important championship game of the week.
No, whatever you want to call it. You're just whatever you want to call it, whatever. Luke Fickell, Cincinnati's head coach, is so dialed into this game because he knows not what it means for him. He knows not what it means for the school. He is totally dedicated and focused on what it means to those young men that he is leading. He's got an opportunity of a lifetime to go make millions in a major program, and he's not even fielding the calls right now because he is focused on one thing and one thing only.
Beating Houston.
Beating Houston and becoming the first non-Power 5 team in the playoffs.
That is true.
That's historic.
It is just being
That's a
ranked.
huge moment.
Just being ranked in the top 4. Before this year, no non-Power 5 had been ranked above like 8, and now he's got them primed. All they have to do is win. All they have to do is win.
I agree.
And they will. That defense is solid, and their offense is efficient.
Houston.
Style points are going to have to count in this game.
I totally disagree.
You don't think so?
No. They have got to where Notre Dame has one blemish on their records, and it's to Cincinnati. And Notre Dame is ranked 6th in the country.
That's true. That's a good win for them.
But I really believe the perception in the country, the people on the committee could very easily, if Cincinnati plays a close game, it wouldn't be, head-to-head would not matter. They would jump.
Alabama damn near got knocked off by an unranked Auburn team.
Yeah.
They're still 3rd, and they've
true.
lost
So
to, at the time, an unranked team.
Look at what happened to Michigan and Michigan State.
Right,
Michigan jumped Michigan State after Michigan State won.
right.
And I can see the committee doing the same thing with Notre Dame.
So, think about this then. What happens if Cincinnati wins, but Oklahoma State blows Baylor out? Does Oklahoma State jump Cincinnati because they're in the Power 5?
No, I think what's going to happen
Baylor's number 9.
Right. Baylor's got 2 losses.
Yeah, okay, that's true.
They're number 9, but they got 2 losses. The committee's going to have to look at a couple of things, and they're going to have to let these games play themselves out because I believe they're counting on Georgia beating Alabama to clean up the mess. I believe they're counting on Michigan to beat Iowa to clean up the mess.
Yeah.
Cincinnati to win, clean up the mess. Oklahoma State to win, clean up the mess. And then who does that leave you with? 1 Georgia, 2 Michigan, 3
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati
Oklahoma
or
State.
Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma
right?
State
Yeah.
may jump them.
So they're interchangeable.
But again, your fourth is still going to be Cincinnati.
So
it's
your
going to be a
outs-
clean
your-
four.
yeah, your two outs are going to be Notre Dame, your first two out, and
Right. And they can justify that because you got an undefeated team that's in the playoffs that beat them head-to-head at Notre Dame, and Notre Dame won't have a conference championship.
So you think Cincinnati's in pretty much no matter what?
They got to win.
They have to win, though.
Yeah.
Of course. Okay. Interesting. Notre Dame, assuming that there is a path for them to get in.
Chaos theory, absolutely.
Chaos theory. With Alabama losing to Georgia, obviously. With Michigan losing to Iowa. That's the worst case scenario, and that would put Notre Dame into the...
Yeah. I mean, Georgia losing to Alabama is probably the worst thing to happen for Notre Dame.
Georgia
would
losing
still
to
be in.
Alabama.
Georgia would still be in if they lose to Alabama.
Yeah,
Right.
Georgia's in no matter what. Yeah,
Georgia's the only team is basically guaranteed to be in.
Yeah. After the end of the weekend, Georgia will be still in, obviously. Alabama, if they lose to Georgia, they're out.
Even a close game, they're out.
Yeah. If they win, then Alabama's 2 and Georgia's number 1. I think Georgia's still number 1 after that. No, you don't think so? So
No.
Michigan's number 1 if Michigan wins.
No, I think that at that point, Alabama will have the most impressive win of the season, and they'll probably put Alabama 1, Georgia 2, Michigan 3, and then whatever happens, they're 4.
Okay, gotcha. So, Big 12 championship. We'll move on to the third most important conference championship of the week. And then we'll go to the fourth, which is like the Mountain West. And then we'll move on. I'm just kidding. So, I'm loving just ragging on the Big Ten right now. But it's just for fun, y'all. All y'all.
Sad thing is, I was thinking Pac-12. What about them?
Oh, there's no
They're
use
like
to talk.
ninth. Aren't they ninth? or something?
They're like, of the Power 5 in the group of 6, they're like number 11. So, let's go to the Big 12 championship. Baylor versus Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State played a pretty good game against Oklahoma last week. I thought that Oklahoma State would win by a lot more. I thought they would have less of a challenge against Oklahoma, but Oklahoma stayed with them the whole time. It is an in-state rivalry, so that's probably why. But I don't think Oklahoma had the talent that, I don't know.
Think about Baylor's history. Baylor is one of those teams that they can have the terrible season, but they will play their hearts out against certain teams. And I think this game here, Baylor's like, we got nothing to lose, but everything to prove. They're going to come in strong. I really think that against them. But I still think it's going to be, it may be even like a repeat of the Auburn-Alabama game, but Oklahoma State takes them at the end.
Yeah, Oklahoma State has a solid defense this year. I think they are the number 1 defense in the Big 12, which isn't saying much. There's not a lot of good defense in the Big 12 in the first place.
It's definitely going to be an entertaining game. I think.
I think they're a top 10 defense in the country as well.
5, I think.
Number 5?
I think they're in the top 5.
Yeah, so that being said, Baylor, on the other hand, has not that good of a defense. And Oklahoma State has a pretty good offense. So it's going to be a shootout if Baylor can figure out a way to stop Oklahoma State.
It's all about penetration, as Gary said. Baylor's going to have that penetration.
All about penetration, baby.
So here's a little head-to-head matchup for you. Oklahoma State lost 1 game this season to Iowa State.
Yeah. That's back when Iowa State was looking good. It was like October 1st, I think, is when they played.
Baylor beat Iowa State in end of September.
Okay.
So there's your head-to-head comparison.
So does it say the score on there? by
Oklahoma
chance?
State has already beaten Baylor this year.
Yeah.
They won by 10 at Oklahoma State.
34 to 24?
24 to 14.
24-14. Okay. I knew there was a 4 on there somewhere. So
The rematch is why I said Baylor's going to come out hungry.
yeah,
They've got nothing. They're like, all right, so what?
we already lost to them. We've played them before, though. It's a rematch. Let's go out there and kick some butt.
This is going to be an entertaining game. I'm telling you, this may be one that people are like, wow.
I think this game is probably more important than we realize, because here in a couple of years, Big 12 loses Texas, loses Oklahoma. This is a prime opportunity for Oklahoma State to become the face of the Big 12. Now, they are going to gain Cincinnati, who has been an up-and-comer. And personally, I think that gives Fickle a reason to kind of stay there in Cincinnati and continue to have success. But still, this primes Oklahoma State to have lasting power as a national contender on the national scene. If they can pull this off and get in that top 4, once you're in the playoffs, anything can happen.
Yeah. And
unless you're Notre Dame.
And with Oklahoma State, if they win, then they know that they have at least a shot to be in that top 4, which would be huge for that program. And I actually like what we're seeing right now with the top 4.
Parity.
What do you mean by that?
We have a really good shot to have a playoffs that doesn't include the following: Alabama, Ohio State, and Clemson.
Yeah.
That would be the first time in the history of playoffs.
It's insane what happened this year, because for the last 6 years or so,
I think Alabama's made it every year.
Yeah, and
one of those teams have been in for the last 14 years.
Yeah, for the last 6 years at least, everyone's been complaining about the same 3 or 4 teams every single year, right?
Just about this, it ain't LSU, it ain't LSU up there complaining about.
Yeah, LSU stuck in there.
They got in there a few times.
Yeah, LSU stuck in there, but it's still the fact that it's been Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State, and Oklahoma State here and there. Oregon was in the beginning, I think 2013 or something, but it's been a while. But it's still a different type of season this year, which I think is really interesting to see. All right, let's jump into the Big Ten, which is the 4th most important conference championship of the week. But really, it's probably the number 1 most important conference championship of the week. No, number 2. The only reason why I say number 2 is because Alabama, Georgia has 2 people in the top 4. Yeah. So, Big Ten championship, we have Iowa against Michigan. Iowa has been playing good football in the beginning of the season. I don't know that they've scored more than 20 points in the last 4 or 5 games against their competitor. Like their offense is non-existent right now, and their quarterback is supposed to be dynamite, but he's not. Whereas Michigan is definitely the clear front runner in this game. I don't know what the spread is. What is the
10.5?
10.5 points. Yeah. So Michigan definitely is going to win this game. Obvious. I mean, that's.
You never know.
It's Iowa's like the Baylors and like all these. Hey, you know what? We're going to come into play because if we can upset them,
I agree, Ernie.
It's Iowa State has that history of, when they're down, they're just going to go. We're going to get everything. Just go have fun. And I think that's what the coaches are doing to them when they're down. They're like, hey, we're just going to go out there and have fun. I think if the coaches are out there and say, look, just go have fun, things happen. The mentality changes. I grew up in Missouri, right?
Okay.
I grew up in Columbia, Missouri. Now in Columbia, Missouri. Columbia, South Carolina now, so I didn't move too far off the map. Just a couple letters on the address. But I'll tell you what, watching the Big 8 back then, and then seeing how good these teams really were, and then they went dormant for so long, and I think with the Big Ten now, things are coming back. There are these teams that want to be in those, I got to be up here every time. So I think that's what Iowa has something to prove now by closing out the year strong in order to be ranked next year in a higher level than they were to start the season.
Again,
and that's why they're going to play hard against Michigan.
Well, they're obviously going to play as hard as they can. I just don't think that they have the talent on that team on offense to be able to. I mean, defensively they're strong.
Okay, does Harbaugh get comfortable though?
Harbaugh's not comfortable. Harbaugh's wearing, what is he wearing? Blue khakis right now? Or blue pants rather than khaki pants?
But he has a habit of.
Let's just say he's not coming in wearing khakis this week.
I'm going to jump right in here. Iowa's playing more than for next year.
Yeah, they are.
They're playing for a Rose Bowl opportunity. If Iowa beats Michigan in the Big Ten Championship, Iowa goes to the Rose Bowl. It doesn't happen very often.
Rare, yeah. When was the last time they've been in it? Probably.
That's a good question.
I couldn't. Yeah,
There's
if you
a
looked it
trivia
up,
question,
you
yeah.
might have to go back to the 70s or the 80s to find that.
Michigan is one of the, if not one of the top 3 most well-balanced on offense and one of the, toughest defenses in the country. They've got an opportunity to not only get to the playoffs, but to make some noise in the playoffs.
So do
Because
you feel
they
it's
have
going to
that
be a
capability.
Michigan-Georgia championship game?
No. But I'm just saying, if you like old school, hard hitting, 3 yards in a cloud of dust football, that's going to be a game to watch. No. This will be a game. Definitely not. This will be a game to watch. And I won't watch it because I'll watch it.
Will you be rooting for that team up
Will
north?
not.
I will be rooting for Michigan on Saturday.
What?
And the answer is this.
Why is that? Yeah.
Michigan wins, they go to the playoffs. Ohio State is the number 2 team and takes the Rose Bowl spot for the Big Ten.
Oh yeah, smart. Okay.
I will say this for that team up north.
Are you rooting for them, big?
Yeah, I want
Who's your
them to
daddy?
win because of the Big Ten. But I will say this for the coach, Jim Harbaugh. He took a big pay cut last year to stay and keep his job. This year, and he gets a big incentive if he wins this game Saturday to be a Big Ten champion. He is donating all his incentive money to the people on the Michigan staff and athletics that took pay cuts due to COVID.
Oh
So
wow.
I think that's pretty neat.
That is.
I really do. I think that's pretty neat.
And
What I
I
heard
like
long ago, though, charity doesn't win football games.
true, but what I like
But
to
he's
see
Penetration does, baby.
But he cares about people.
He does.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty neat.
and Harbaugh, he's been railroaded for the last 5 years being at Michigan.
Poor
But
guy.
What I love, and I hope it goes back and forth, but it feels like the rivalry's back. It feels like the game has meaning again, and it hasn't for about 10 years for the team up north.
And exactly. And the thing about it, I got texts from people this past week and Facebook messages. And the last time they could ever brag about a win, it was MySpace, not Facebook. I mean,
Oh, my.
They couldn't even go back in their Facebook memories.
they couldn't. No, they could not.
Damn.
You're talking about 3 times this century that they won. So they deserve to win. They kicked our butts.
Oh yeah, no, I'll say it. They kicked our ass.
were-
Congratulations, Wolverine fans. Good luck next week, and
That was a tough
hopefully
loss.
for the rest
That
of the
was a
year,
tough loss.
we'll see you in about 360 days.
That's it.
How do you feel about this loss, though? What was your heart feeling on Saturday last week when Michigan beats Ohio State?
I understood it. I wasn't that deep. They kicked our butt. I mean, we could not stop them on defense. And if you can't, there's an old cliche. Defense wins championships. And we couldn't play defense. So we don't deserve a championship. They ran the ball down our throat. It reminded me of Woody Hayes coaching on the other sideline. 3 yards in a cloud of dust. They ran the ball down our throat, and then our offense was inept. I mean, their defense did a great job too of containing us.
Yeah, it was a tough game to watch because I really wanted Georgia to have a shot at Ohio State. I really did.
That would have been a fun game to watch.
That would have been a hell of a game.
Oh yeah. So moving on, we're gonna go ahead and change the subject slightly over to college football coaches. Notre Dame. Brian Kelly leaves Notre Dame, and he's going to LSU, right? And then last
Why the
night,
hell would he do that?
He's got 110 million plus 116 million reasons to do that.
I think it's.
I don't know what.
I just think it's. I thought that hit everybody blindsided, right?
Yeah.
Nobody thought that LSU would be taking Brian Kelly from Notre Dame.
He did not even wait for a counter offer from Notre Dame, nor did he talk to the players.
So why was he wanting to get out? That is a good question. Why did he want to get out?
I think he took the program to where it can go.
Where he can take the program.
In the modern age, where that program can go.
If that program's undefeated,
Oh, they're in the top four.
They're in
That's
the top
true.
four.
Every year. That's right. That's true.
you lose to a non-Power 5 team,
Yeah.
and they're still 6.
So, but can Brian Kelly take LSU to a national championship then?
Yes.
Does he have the recruiting power to do so?
Well, and here's why. He doesn't have to deal with the high academic standards that they do at Notre Dame. He doesn't have to deal with sticking to a certain... I'm serious.
That's funny. No, it's absolutely true.
It's true.
Oh, that's 100% true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Notre Dame, they have
Academics.
There's
He
a
doesn't have to sort of stay in the whole Catholic theme for recruiting. Not that he always does, but now he's not limited by those expectations. We'll call it.
And they're
That's
in
a
a
good
conference.
point.
And
yeah, and LSU does have high academics.
and he's recruiting in the richest region of the country for 5-star athletes.
Yeah.
It is.
That's a good point.
So
Okay.
he doesn't have to go far to find studs to wear his uniform.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, that's a good point.
And again, he's replacing Ogeron.
Yeah.
What are the expectations?
So another question I have on this whole Notre Dame thing is Marcus Freeman is announced as the new coach for
He
Notre
has been?
Dame. He has
Yes.
been officially. The guy. This is the weirdest thing.
35 years old.
I'm perplexed by the decision. He has 2 years of coaching experience as a defensive coordinator, and that's it. Before that, he was since 2011 he's been a coach. He's only been a defensive coordinator for 2 years. So before that, he was like a running backs coach and so forth. The guy has zero experience, whereas Brian Kelly had 20 years as a head coach before he came on board at Notre Dame. And the previous coach before that had 10 years as a offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots. So what is Notre Dame thinking by making Marcus Freeman the coach?
They kept the offensive coordinator. That was like a package deal. They kept their offensive coordinator, and he had a very large supporting staff of players and alumni and boosters wanting him to stay there.
That doesn't matter.
And Brian Kelly was trying to pluck him from Notre Dame, take him to LSU with him, and the offensive coordinator.
He must have something special that people see.
Yes,
That
I
he
agree.
has the relationship to get a player that is nothing
He's
to perform.
incredible. He's an incredible recruiter.
Okay.
That matters.
And if they want to keep in the upward trajectory, they need to recruit that top talent. If he's very good at it.
And he was not going to be there had he not got the head coaching job. I mean, he was going to be gone. Dayton, Ohio native.
He was going to LSU or Cincinnati or going to go to Ohio State. One of the three.
Okay. I was just curious, that's all. That's all. I mean,
I think he'll be a
The
good hire.
text that he was a candidate, possibly.
no, I have my personal feelings on why he was made it, but I'm not going to say it.
Don't say it.
I
I'm not
think
gonna
he's a
say it.
great
Thank
hire because I think he'll do well. He's got good people around him that he's going to keep in the Notre Dame coaching staff.
Yeah.
I think he's a shooting star, honestly.
He's just
Okay.
getting started.
So the only thing
just
that
getting started, you said, or what?
Shooting star.
Shooting star, yeah.
So
It's
that's
started.
and that's why. Like last night, I did a lot of research, and my first knee-jerk reaction was my personal feeling on it. But then after that, I started looking into it. Lincoln Riley was about the same this.
He was a little younger. He's like 31 or
Yeah,
something.
but yeah, Lincoln Riley, when he got the Oklahoma position, he had about the same experience as Marcus Freeman. Yeah, he had about the same experience as Marcus Freeman when he started, and Lincoln Riley did very good. So if that's the case, then I think that, and I said this to a Facebook post somewhere to somebody. I said, I'm sure Notre Dame vetted it out. And this is after I did a little bit of research on the guy. I was like, Notre Dame vetted it out. They figured out that this guy is going to do what he's going to do. Yeah.
They know who he is.
Yeah.
I think it speaks a lot that the offensive coordinator came out before he was named and said he was staying there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was
big time.
the
There.
writing on the wall right there.
Yeah, I was 100% perplexed at first, but then I just kind of did some research. And I was like, yeah, maybe that was a good decision.
And you won't know until you know. I mean, you have to
For 3
see
years
how they
from now.
handles that.
Yeah. 3 years from now.
There's
you'll
something
know.
about those millennials, I'll tell you.
That's it. Okay. Lincoln Riley going to USC.
Right.
That's $116 million reasons why you want to go, right?
Is that how much it was?
It's like $110 million plus a $6 million home.
How many years?
Plus like a $50 million house or something.
Yeah,
Was that
$6
10
million.
years? $6 million house.
$6
Yeah.
million.
Private jet usage
Private jet, yeah.
3 times. He bought both of his homes in Oklahoma
For
Plus
$500,000
$500,000
above asking.
So sign me up as a real estate agent. I want to sell him a home.
Yeah.
I want to find that home for him.
USC scored big, and I just, in my opinion though, the Pac-12 is non-existent right now.
They are now.
Yeah.
They are now.
And he has more of an uphill battle to get the Pac-12 back into it than it would have been to get the Big 12 back
I
into
think
it.
he's already taken like 3 players with him to USC.
Yeah.
Of his recruits.
number 1 quarterback,
Yeah.
5-star quarterback already committed to him.
So the most important change in coaching that happened though over the week was University of Florida took on Billy Napier from.
You know, I think you might be a little biased towards this one.
No, that's the most important coaching change.
I think our host is really biased in this decision.
Anyway, yeah, I am.
It's like it's his show or something.
I don't know about this decision,
Billy
honestly.
Napier went to University of what?
Yeah,
I'm not-
he's from the Raging Cajuns.
You know what? We
Yeah.
just need to agree with him, our host.
Yes.
Just say yes.
I agree with you.
There you
Man,
go.
I'm buying the beer.
the listeners you can't see us, but we're all nodding our heads.
Yes, we're nodding our head.
All right,
So what's your
um,
feelings on that? What's your feelings
So
on that?
I was actually skeptical of him at first as well. But you look at his record, he did a lot for the Raging Cajuns to bring them into a winning record. He's 39-12 as a head coach. That's pretty solid. Better, by the way, than Matt Campbell from Iowa State and Luke Fickell from
Who are they playing?
from Cincinnati. The Raging Cajuns are in the Sun Belt, man.
Yeah.
You gotta watch out in that one.
Yeah.
That's actually more important than the Big Ten.
All right. Oh my God, man.
What?
I'm not agreeing with
He's
that.
drinking a big beer.
That's
No.
bull. You know what? I'm gonna say it. That's some bullshit right there.
So Billy Napier has a pedigree, though. He's coached under Dabo Sweeney. He's coached under Nick Saban. He's coached under a lot of really big name coaches, and that's where he's a good. That's where he's a good fit.
We'll see in, 2 years? See how it goes in 2
Next
years.
season, Gators, SEC champions, and national champions, baby.
Bold
I
statement.
called it first.
Bold
Bold statement. If it is true, everyone's buying me a round of beer.
Sure.
All right, there you go.
Well, what are you drinking tonight?
Whiskey, baby. All right, let's go
That's a
around.
bunch of whiskey.
The show's gone
Now
off the
it all
rails.
makes sense.
Let's go ahead and wrap up the show, all right? So,
Oh,
thank you for coming
what a
out,
great
listening to
night.
the show.
Good night. Good night.
Keep on coming back
Who's
every
your
week
daddy?
for more Guys in the Bar talking sports. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, man, how can I help these guys out? Well, first thing you can do, subscribe to the show. By subscribing to the show, you'll be able to hear it every single week on your favorite podcatcher. Second thing you can do, if your podcatcher lets you do it, give it a review and 5 stars. I know Apple Podcasts will allow you to do that. So give it 5 stars and a review. And then the third thing you do is hop on Facebook, type in Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. You'll see our group there. Join it. You'll love it. Best sports group on Facebook, guaranteed. Lots of good stuff going on in there, so check it out. And then come back next week for Guys at the Bar Talking Sports.